The enemy is all around you, and they all try to get down deep in your soul. Did you know your soul's alive inside you?
Welcome, Wimkin. We are live and hot. Let's see. You should be hearing us in about 3, 2, 1. And we are live on Wimkin. We are punching out of the website. See ya on the show. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. Facebook, YouTube, you suck, but we love the people. We just hate the company. They do bad and wicked things to us. Shirt of the show. You can't buy this. It's Under Armour, and it's like a ridiculous $110 piece of crap that I got in the Eastern Shore, but you can go to standwith45now.com. I'm going to explain everything. Not only does it help Donald Trump win re-election, so it is standwith47now.com in the future, but it also helps two good friends of the show who are doing yeoman's work. And it's tough out there. You're going to hear all about it. Scott is below me. No, it's not Olivia. Not as pretty. And we will have him on with us. We'll talk about what we always do, but we're going to take some time learning about what the hell standwith45now.com is. What does it mean to you and all of that? And then you're going to be able to ask Scott some questions. I ask you guys to be gentle. Please use lube. And we will be back in about 30 seconds. Let you know, Leroy will not be on tonight. Either will Amy. Leroy is getting punched by the government to go and do what he does with intelligence. Amy is in Florida. Must be nice. And Olivia is out shopping with the kids. So it's going to be Scott and I taking you to 9 o'clock. And we will see you in the better part of 3 minutes right after this. Thank you. Don't Unfriend Me show. Get your questions ready. This should be a fun one tonight.
Here. Check out our friend Matthew Spirit at his podcast at The DUM Show and his website. Yeah. Don'tUnfriendMe.com. Yeah.
Step into a Wimkin.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Gosh, it's like we should just go ahead and end the show here with all that advertisement. It's like, okay, everybody, good night. Thanks for watching the show. Scott, welcome. We don't know each other well, but the time that we have, I've felt we've grown a a very close bond to each other. This is the Don't Unfriend Me show. Welcome to it. And I want to explain everything real quick before I get to introducing you to the Don't Unfriend Me crowd. First of all, Twitter is struggling. We're slowly climbing. Looks like we're I don't know, about 100 right now. That's a little low. So let's get some people on. Share the show, please. So about 30 minutes, 45 minutes ago, maybe a little more or less, I received a phone call from Jason from Wimkin, who is obviously someone who I respect and care about very, very much. And I never want to disappoint. So I was presented with an opportunity to help a company which is being targeted, subjected to what a lot of conservative companies and social media groups is being canceled and being canceled by social media. And it's not even cancellation because they never even got us started. A lot of the companies that have started in the last 4 years have faced this since we were conceptualized. So when I hear that, it not only pisses me off because I, for one, know because I've lost over, $175,000 annually from Facebook. That's a lot of money. And not only have I done that once, I've done it 2 other times with 2 companies since COVID because those companies have literally gone bankrupt. So I've had to reinvent myself 3 times in the last 3.5 years. It's not easy. And so when I hear that, it makes me go, how can I help? And then the anxiety kicks in because I want to help to a point where it's successful. So of course, y'all know me. The I's and T's got to be crossed and dotted and everything's got to be perfect and symmetrical. So I'm trying to say, let's get them on and somehow do that all in 35, 45 minutes. And we weren't able to. So we were a little late. It's my fault. I apologize. But I thought it was important enough to talk to you about Scott, what he is bringing to the Trump campaign, and how you can help. So the shirt of the show tonight is not the Under Armour Eastern Shore shirt. It is the I Stand with 45 bracelet. Scott, welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. This introduction was long, but tell everybody who you are and what you do, and we'll get started from there.
Absolutely, Matt. Thank you so much for having me tonight. Really a pleasure to be here under the conditions that you were explaining a little earlier. Yes, it was kind of out of left field, but at the same time, we just kind of pick up and get going. So
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you again for having me. It's great to be here. For everybody that's watching, welcome to the show. Happy to be here to talk about what's going on, what's happened in our past, what we're working on, and what everything that we're doing to get Donald Trump elected in 2024, November 5th, 2024. As you guys know, based on what Matt shared earlier, me and my business partner and I have been dealing with many cancellations, if you will, across the social media landscape from starting all the way back around the 2020 election. Even before then, we actually, my business partner, back around the 2020 time, created the Facebook group Nationwide Recount 2020. That was started 4 days after the election on a Thursday. By Sunday, it was well over 1 million people. And shortly thereafter, around December time, it was deleted without any explanation whatsoever. We were reaching people, we were having engaged conversations, we were finding ways to make things better based on what happened in that 2020 election. And that's really the start of all of what we are doing now today. Since that point, from us going into the Facebook group, building Nationwide Recount 2020 up into 1 million people, over the years, we've been doing everything we can to stand by and stand behind Donald Trump, which is who our favorite president is. I have been a supporter from day one since he came down that golden escalator in Trump Tower. My business partner, his name's Rob, also goes by Joe America or the American Dreamer on all throughout social media. He and I have kind of banded together after COVID. That's when we first met, and have done everything we can to add value to the entire conservative community, ultimately leading to helping Donald Trump and supporting Donald Trump right from the beginning. The project that we're talking about today, I Stand with 45 wristbands. Ultimately, how this came to be, it was like we were going and my business partner and I, we were pursuing one direction inside of our company. Ultimately, what we created was a new newsletter that was a conservative meme newsletter. We called it American Dreamer Memes Newsletter, and we were plugged into a solution that eventually ended up canceling us and shutting us down because number one, our emails were getting way too many spam complaints. And secondly, they didn't agree and or like the content that we were publishing. As you know, conservative memes in and of themselves can be very hard hitting, truth telling, but also offend many different people depending on who's reading them and who's watching them. And so ultimately, the birth of this project that we're talking about today was because of a conservative meme newsletter on a platform was totally and completely deleted. And within a week or so period, in saying, how are we going to salvage what we have, we decided to pursue what we're doing today, which is the I Stand with 45 wristbands. Ultimately, my business partner and I, with the election coming up and the short time that we had to course correct, we ended up deciding to go this direction. And basically, at the end of the day, what is this? My business partner and I, we've manufactured a bracelet that says, I stand with 45. And ultimately, this is something that we've created to bring everybody together here in the conservative community to let people know out and about in the world that we stand with 45. We stand with Donald Trump. We want Donald Trump to win in November 2024. And that's what this is all about. In order to add value to the Trump campaign, our main goal is to donate 45% of the project's profits into the Donald Trump campaign to help him contribute to winning in November 2024. We pretty much launched this, interestingly enough, and I know we can talk about this further, Matt. We launched this actually the day after he was hit with the 34 felony accounts. And the interesting part about that whole part of that story is that um, we didn't even want to time it that way. It just showed up that way, almost as if it was like a divine appointment, divine alignment, whatever it is that you want to call it. And it was like, wow, we're actually launching it on this day. And sure enough, the convictions hit at that moment. And so ultimately, Matt, and also for everybody here watching, it's like we have manufactured these bands to bring us together, basically tell the left that we don't like any of the bull crap that they're bringing to us. But this was birthed out of being canceled with our, conservative meme newsletter with our provider that we were using. So that's kind of the nutshell story here, Matt. I know that we can go a little bit deeper
Yeah.
depending on what way you want to take this, but
Uh,
we've been battling cancellations, no joke, since 2020. The big first one was obviously the Nationwide Recount Group 2020.
mhm.
Election shenanigans happened on the Tuesday. My business partner, Joe America, also known as Rob, created the Nationwide Recount Group on the Thursday. He invited his list of friends. Maybe some of your audience were even friends with him at that time or even remember what that group was. By Sunday, we had 1 million+ people. From there, that was November. By the middle of December, because Facebook didn't like the activity, violation, violation, violation. It was completely shut down, no explanation whatsoever. We weren't doing anything wrong. And I'm sure that that story is something that's pulled through your entire community here that watches the show.
Yeah.
So that's where this all started. And we've been battling this inside of the political space with our business literally since the beginning.
Well, I appreciate the explanation. That helps out and lets people get an idea of what you've been facing. And there's nobody here who is, under any delusion that the conservative voices are being canceled. And even on a platform like Twitter, it just seems that the Democrats are much better at paying people to essentially run propaganda and disinformation than anyone else. I face it every single day. My feed is full of liberals like the Krasenstein brothers and Brooklyn Dad and JoJo from Jers and all these people who essentially are some of the most toxic and evil people you've ever met. All they want is just to push all ill on anyone who isn't like them. It's funny that Democrats say that. I want to be clear, everybody. People have always been amazing taking care of us. Over the last 4 months, we have been asking for donations. We didn't ask for them for 3.5 years. And I was in a lucrative job, took care of me, and I made some pretty decent money on Facebook. So 4 months ago, we started asking for donations. Tonight, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. No donations to the Donut Friendly Show. Please go to Stand with 45 now, and everything you planned on giving the show tonight, give to him. It means the world to me because here's why. The one thing that I know is there's a video that I watch by a guy named Prometheus, and no, not the Greek god and Greek scholars, but Prometheus is somebody who makes motivational videos, and they are incredible. And there's one where he it's about 7.5 minutes and great music behind it. It's got the Spartan music and music from Troy, and he's showing these clips from these movie scenes that are all supposed to like get you motivated. And the one thing in that clip that I've used to kind of motivate myself is today might be the day. And you don't know which sale it's going to be. You don't know which interaction is going to change your life. You don't know which moment in time you're going to meet that person you're going to be with for the rest of your life. So if you stay in bed and you don't get up, you may miss it and you may never see it again. And it may be 50 years before you get another shot, or you'll be dead and gone before that shot comes again. So if I can help today, and this is put in front of me, this is what I want to do with it. So if you could do me a favor, go to standwith45now.com, pick up the bracelet. So, dude, bracelets is not necessarily the most masculine thing in the world. I understand these are very tough. What got you into this? Tell us a little bit about your career before this. What was it that was like, this is something we can do, it's going to be great? And walk us through that if you could, Scotty.
Absolutely. It's really a great story. Like I said, as our meme newsletter that we were using to serve the audience, we built it up from from 0 subscribers all the way up until 3,700 subscribers in less than 30 days, just from leveraging our audiences with Facebook, as well as our, what was it, a Facebook audience in a Facebook group, as well as a Facebook page, as well as some of our other contacts also promoted it as well. So we went from 0 to 3,700 people for our meme newsletter. And we were getting over 50% open rate, sending an email between Monday through Friday at 5:30 a.m. Pacific time, 8:30 a.m. in Eastern time. So how did that translate? Well, what happened was towards the end of April, come to find out, I get an email from our software provider that we were using to send the email newsletter, and they basically said, due to violations, we've had to, delete your newsletter, your account. When you go to our sign up page, it was a 404 page. We couldn't we could log in, but we couldn't access anything. And I'm like, this is absolutely crazy. So when it comes to my background, I've been sending email marketing messages and being in the marketing world in different capacities through different types of businesses, literally since college, which was around 2005, 2006, 2007. So back in the days when Aweber and
Wow.
GetResponse were the main emails. It was like, are you Aweber or are you GetResponse? That's where I started. And so what was so mind blowing for me at this time, from where we were back in '05, '06, '07, all the way to present day, never in the back of my mind would I have ever thought that just because of what I'm sending an email, the provider is going to say, we don't agree with your content. We don't like your content. We're going to shut you down. And then the second piece that I eventually found out in working with their support people is that they had our emails that we were sending. As you know, if you're in the internet marketing world stuff, for every 1,000 emails you send to your opt-in list, if you get more than one spam complaint per 1,000 emails, it really creates a red flag for your account inside of your email marketing account with that provider. So we were sending 3,700 or so emails every day, Monday through Friday, but we were getting 5 or 6 spam complaints, and that's only what our dashboard in the back was showing us. Come to
What
find out, it was
where were
way
these
more
coming
than that.
where were they coming from, Scott? So was it viewers, people just trying to break you down, or was it the actual company doing it
So
themselves?
it was people that were opted into the list specifically. And so ultimately, what ended up happening with this whole situation, it was just like that was the trigger. Then we come to find out that our provider told us the reason we had to shut you down is because our spam complaints for your emails were higher than they should be. And obviously, because that provider is sending emails on our behalf, they don't want to dilute and or ruin their sending email domain that they're sending for other clients that are using the same platform. And
Hmm.
so, but then once they go to the, oh, well, we don't agree with your content, it's at that point where I'm like, I'm pissed off at you now. Okay, I can understand reason number one, but you're going to also play, Facebook censorship, God, if you will. So that
Hmm.
was like the hook that started the beginning of these wristbands. And so between my business partner Rob and I, what we think happened was the crazy lunatic left liberals that were seeing the memes that were being posted in the newsletter, it was almost as if we believed they banded together, signed up for our email, and knew that if enough of them hit the spam button every single email, we would eventually get shut down. Now, can we fully verify if that happened that way? Yes or no? No, we can't. We can only, extrapolate based on what happened and how fast it happened. So that was the start of all of this. So from that point, at the time, my business partner Rob, when the page was still available and accessible in Facebook, we had about 50,000 or so Facebook fans that we built really quickly in a 5 to 6 month period. He went to the Facebook page and said, "Guys, so sorry that we're not sending the email newsletter. Our provider shut us down. We believe that people from the other side signed up, hit the spam button, and it screwed us. And that's why we can't send this to you anymore." So, interestingly enough, Jason from Wimkin commented on that post in that Facebook page, and that is what triggered the initial conversation. Now, what's interesting is from that post, I then went after the new book that came out from Noah Kagan, $1 Million Weekend. And I said, I need to figure out a way to take what we have with this newsletter and translate it into what can we do to not only help us, but also help the Trump campaign. And so he
Mhm.
was talking about a concept in that book, talking about sell something first before you actually create it or deliver it. I mean, I'm sure you, myself, and many other people here watching have heard people spend thousands and thousands of dollars on businesses, thousands on inventory, thousands on websites, and then they go live and then they lose, right? And so in that book, it talks about create and sell something first before you actually deliver it. And so from there, we were thinking and talking and thinking and talking, and I was riffing off my business partner. He was riffing off me, and he came up with this idea like, why don't we do it via these wristbands? We can buy a very small amount of inventory. It could be very meaningful, and it could help Trump win in November as we donate 45% of the profits from the project. And so that's what we ran with. So imagine end of April was when the newsletter was shut down. We connected with Jason shortly thereafter. As we were talking to Jason, head of Wimkin, about this project, then he's like, well, here's how I can help you deliver this. And we found the win-win. We created the win-win, and that is why we did it. So literally
Right.
from the first, second week of May, all the way up to May 31st when we launched, that's how this came to be. And so what we decided, yep. So ultimately, last thing, what we decided was, okay, the wristband's going to say I stand with 45, meaning 45 equals Donald Trump. We didn't want to use the Trump word to possibly have issues and whatnot later if it really got massively big. From there, we also said free shipping in the United States, 45% of the profits, and just a package that's delivered to you with either a 2-pack, a 3-pack, or a 10-pack. So that's how this
So
came to be, Matt.
yeah, it's an amazing story because I mean during COVID is not always the best time to start a business. I learned that lesson, and you're right. We didn't sell T-shirts when we first started. We didn't ask for anything, and we built a relationship with our customer. And I wanted to deliver 5-star product to them, and my shirts are the best in the business. I know the owners of Grunt Style personally. I know Tim Jensen, and Dan's no longer with them, but they forced him out, and that sucks. But anyway, and I owned Grunt Style shirts for a long time, and I will only, and most of my viewers will tell you they buy our stuff because it's good quality. So achieving good quality, but also having a decent price is interesting. That's the one thing that immediately tells me I've sold thousands of these things. I've bought I better part of probably 100,000 of these things for Comcast. I also purchased them for Apple. They were silver with a single apple in them. The Comcast ones were for the Olympics, and I also bought these for Flags of Valor. And I know when they're decent. And the fact that you can do interband printing on these usually means it's a higher quality company. Most of them don't have the equipment to do that, and so it's just a signifier that they're high quality. Now, here's the thing that drives me crazy: is how did you do it? Because you're given a 2-pack of these things for $18.99 with free shipping in the U.S. Yep. That's incredible. 2024, $20.24 for a 3-pack. And then a 10-pack is $45.45. Very, very clever marketing, by the way.
Well, obviously,
I love You should have done 1876, maybe 1776 or 1862. All important dates. So here's the deal. When we say I did this with the Compatore family, who obviously lost their life at the Trump rally. We did a shirt
True
for
hero.
them.
True
Yeah,
hero.
absolutely the fight shirt, and that's called a proceed match. And what that means is if Scott sells something for $1, it doesn't mean he's got $1 profit. Let's say that it costs him 60 cents to do this. He takes care of the shipping, and his profit overall is 40 cents. Then he's going to give 45% of that to Donald Trump. That's a hell of a deal. And it's something that's absolutely unselfish. So the reason this isn't an infomercial, you guys know I don't do this. I don't bring someone on and talk about this like this. It means the world to me that somebody's actually doing something for Donald Trump and giving back. And that's what it's about, right? It's like you're getting something for whatever you're going to purchase. You get to wear it, but it's going to go back to the campaign, which is cool. So let me ask you this. When you did this, is this all you expected it to be? The frustration, the headaches? Is there a payoff here?
There's
Is
more
there
to
a
the
place?
story, actually, Matt.
Yeah, I know. That's what I want to know. When you, what is that threshold where you get to and go, okay, you know what? Now I can move on to next, or I've accomplished what I've wanted to do. Let us in on that.
Absolutely. And real fast, I just want you to know I misspoke earlier about having to end at the top of the hour. I just realized I was mixing up my days. So we can go longer than the top of the hour if we have to. I just realized it.
Yeah, we want to get your
Anyway,
take on some stuff too. Yeah, so go ahead.
absolutely. There's a lot to talk about, especially with what's happened in the last 7 days, obviously. So,
Totally.
what I will say is this. The main question, just so I make sure that I heard the question correctly, the main question was something wrapped around what else with these wristbands, right?
Or where do you get to a place where you're like, okay, you know what, we've done something that we wanted to achieve. It's just everybody has a goal. So overall, what's your goal with this, and what does it look like?
I want to be writing 7-figure checks to the Trump campaign and have that be
Yeah.
a direct influence to him winning in November, because we know, we just heard recently that he's going to be doing $100 million ad blitz during the week before, the week of, and the week after from the DNC to expose
Mhm.
all the BS that we have with, how whatever your nickname is for her, knees, Kamala Harris, hiding Harris, whatever it is you want to, dodge the media Harris. This is the bottom line. I mean, coming from a marketing background myself, literally from, 06, 07, 08, all the way to present day in many different capacities, I know what the marketing side of it costs and what that really means in the context of real fast. Thomas Austin, thank you so much for buying a 10-pack.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Thomas.
Thank you, man.
He's
Appreciate
one of
that.
we have a
Um,
lot of cool listeners. He's one of them. So thank you for that.
absolutely. Thank you so much. And so, um, I want to write $1 million checks to the Trump campaign as fast as humanly possible. And this is the vehicle that my business partner and I are choosing in order to make that happen. I think this is something bigger than ourselves. I mean, would we love to be able to donate every piece of single revenue into the campaign? We would absolutely love to. But we just can't do it. We have manufacturing costs, we have shipping costs, we have fulfillment costs, we got a fulfillment center to handle with. And so we are giving everything we possibly can in the biggest amount possible in order to get there. Now, here's something that's really interesting about this project. So, as you can imagine, going back to the story when we started doing this, American Dreamer memes email newsletter that we eventually got shut down. Here we had a Facebook group. I believe the title of it was called Save America, that had over 50,000 people to reach. Then we had our Facebook page, The American Dreamer. Yes, Kamala Harris. That's a good one, Dodie. You had a Facebook page, The
You said
American
her name.
Dreamer.
No, hold on. Time out. This guy says your name right. I've known you for years. I always call her Dottie, and it took me so many years. And you say it right, son of a bitch. All right. And by the way,
Beautiful. Well, lucky me. I guess it's my lucky day here.
Vicky also bought 3 bracelets as well. So thank you,
Thank you.
Vicky.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate that.
Go ahead.
So what's crazy here is that you talk about, this is the Unfriend Me show, right? The cancel show. What's the story? What's the back end? The Camel Toe Harris. Love that one too. So here we are. We start on May 31st. I ended up using a different email provider to try to send text messages as well as try to send emails. The day, so we were that email provider, which I have no problem talking about, is Brevo. We literally put our 22,000 data size database of text message numbers into the database. As I was sending the test messages to make sure that it was showing up properly, I get an email instantly. Oh, so sorry. The content you're sending goes against our standards. And so here we are, we're sitting here going like, I have my 35,000 person email list and my 22,000 person cell phone text message list. And this provider that I thought was going to work for us on launch day, it was like a failure to launch. I don't
Jeez.
even get to hit the send button
Mm.
because they instantly scan the content and go, nope, sorry, can't send. Your account has been deleted, terminated, blah, blah, blah. And so we were literally cut on our knee. What was it? Cut at the knees right from the start, from managing and leveraging our own audience that we've been talking to literally since 2020. Because what we ended up doing with that nationwide recount group is we ended up knowing the group was most likely going to get deleted. We actually drove them into a lander in order to capture as much of that audience as possible because we knew it was going to get deleted. And so the emails that I'm talking about were built from that initial list. And so
Mhm.
here we are, we're sitting, okay, we can do text message, we can do email, and here I am sending the first message, and bam, we're gone. Not even 3 weeks later, Facebook ends up deleting the Facebook group first, and within 24 hours, deletes the Facebook page. The American Dreamer Facebook page, bye bye, no more. The Save America Facebook group, see you later, goodbye. And the thing is that my business partner, Rob, is just a master at knowing how to create these things, build the momentum for these things, and doing everything possible to build excitement for what's being built inside of these communities. Now, it's kind of like they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And I think that the only reason we continued to use Facebook was because that was where the core audience was. And
Right.
I
Exactly. That's
think
where I'm at.
exactly. And so, I absolutely admire what our friend Jason is doing over at Wimkin to build
Yeah.
his own platform. But the switching costs and the effort to have people switch, it's always the frustrating reality that people that are in our position are always dealing with. And so you have to find other ways to go, well, if I can't do this, and if I was deleted here and I was turned off here and things didn't work out here, what's the next thing? How can we build the momentum to get to the next thing? Because ultimately, it's what can we do to get the result? And
Mhm.
so, in grinding, in talking with Jason, in figuring things out, in conversations, it's been roadblock after speed bump to get the momentum for what we're doing here. I mean, like I said earlier, I want to send multi-million-dollar checks to Donald Trump and his campaign so he has the final money for the ad blitz that he's going to need days leading up. I want to do everything we can to support whatever the ground game is in the battleground states like Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, Nevada. I mean, I think the work from Scott Pressler, I know that Charlie Kirk is doing a lot of amazing work down in Arizona. There are people that are actually on the ground doing the work, and anything that we could do with our business, the Joe America Project, LLC here in Nevada, this is how we are adding and contributing to what it is that we want to accomplish for the campaign ultimately.
Stan with 45now.com. We've already had quite a few people make purchases. And then, of course, we have always the
Awesome.
silent partners, the people who don't. Go ahead and tell us. But if you have purchased the bracelet, let us know. I've already ordered mine.
That's
I'm
that's
going
what
to,
it looks like up
yeah,
close. That's what it looks like. I stand with 45, and then on the inside here, a Wimkin is also embossed in there. I don't know if
yeah.
it's you could there it is, kind of
I'm gonna
there.
fix.
So
I'm gonna fix your bracelet graphic because it's not full. It's not full bleed, and it actually looks better in person. So I'm gonna fix that for you.
yes, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. So it's
that looks really cool. So here's the thing. So you got Donald Trump, you've got financials, and we know where the Republican Party is, folks. And this is the thing. I have not given to a political campaign ever in my existence, except for two people. One is Brandon Michon from Virginia because he's on the show, and I've worked with him with his campaign. Second is Eli Crane because he's a Navy SEAL and he's somebody who I broke bread with and had a few drinks with, and we've had a relationship. That's different because I don't consider that a campaign contribution. I consider that an investment in a friend who is trying to do something, and they are the business that they're trying to produce, which is work for the American people. But Trump, this year I have given to the campaign readily, and there's a reason why, whether it's shirt donations or show donations or whatever. And the reason why is because the RNC is broke. And people don't understand that the RNC is not going to be able to provide the amount of money that Donald Trump needs to be successful. And for the first time really in history, you have a presidential candidate who is funding their own campaign through donation. And it shows you how large it actually is. The money that he raises is an amazing amount of money. His political action committees that he does have and the super PACs that he has do an amazing amount. And he has an overall Rolodex of numbers of close to 35 million emails and phone numbers and people who've been to his rallies. And the thing is that he's doing this through $1 and $5 donations. So something like this is an amazing thing where you can purchase a pack of bracelets. You go ahead and have those, you give them to your friends and family. You can encourage people to get out and vote. You can encourage people who are kind of on the fence to explain what this is for, what the image behind it, the imagery behind it with telling Scott's story. But you also get something cool and you get to help Donald Trump at the same time. So if you have not had a chance, go over to standwith45now.com. Scott and Joe is your partner's name.
So
Is that
his
correct?
real name is Rob, but his brand in Facebook is Joe America.
We'll call him Joe America.
Or the American Dreamer, So yes.
sounds like Hulk Hogan when he's getting introduced, into a WWE wrestling event. So 2-pack Stand with 45, $18.99. $9 a bracelet, free shipping.
Free shipping. Again, free shipping all throughout the United States. And
also we've got a situation with these that they are made, printed, designed all in the United States as far as
yes, we
production.
are using a vendor that is located here in the United States. Yes,
it's absolutely great. So just make sure these are all gluten-free, BPA-free, and homogenous.
So, yes.
Nobody gives a shit.
I believe so. I wouldn't think that our vendor's doing something that's bad.
Folks, these are made with Chinese red pandas, and they basically put them into the plastic. And, the American condor from California also is blended. So you do these bracelets. Now that you've done it, what's like the number one thing you've learned from all entrepreneurs, small business owners? What's your biggest learn? Because you were a blackjack dealer in Vegas, right?
So this is not full time. Let me be very clear. Okay.
Okay.
So I am still a full time casino dealer here on the Las Vegas Strip. I deal to some of the wealthiest people in the world, up to bets that are up to 400,000 a hand, like insane. I've been in this business, time for dollar money, I call it. Time in, dollars out. For the time being, I'm an entrepreneur through and through. But right now, I'm in this position in my life where I must still do this in order to build up my momentum for my entrepreneurial pursuits. And so, Victoria, thank you so much for 2 10-packs. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. So that is my current gig, quote unquote, time for dollar money that I'm on. But my business partner and I, we've always kept our LLC in motion with the intention that our LLC builds enough momentum and builds enough cash flow, builds enough profit so that we can leave the casino. That's the ultimate goal here. So, but my core background is a entrepreneurial person. Basically, I graduated college. Once I graduated college, shortly thereafter, I was working with an entrepreneur who wanted to sell books using social media inside of the entrepreneurial bootstrapping place. I was the front man of the band, all the content marketing, social media marketing. We were driving, 30 to 40,000 views per month through his website, just using social media, content, email lists, email marketing, paid ads, the whole 9 yards. So I've been in this game for very long. I just haven't gotten my home run, just to be straight up. It's execute, fail, execute, fail, learn, execute, fail, learn. But what I will say is, going back to the core question that you brought up is, what have I learned from this? And this is something that I probably learned about 5 to 6 years ago. And it's it's 2 mindsets, right? Mindset number 1 is we're always used to, once we go to elementary school, we get into kindergarten, we know we're going to go to first grade. And then after we're done with first grade, we get into second grade and third grade. And we already see the path through. But the moment you leave formal education, it's the first time that we all experience this moment of, well, I don't have the next thing figured out for me. And I have to
Hmm.
sit here and figure out what that is. And so the mindset of being okay with the unknown, addressing it and hitting it hard the very best way you can with a problem solving mindset, you can achieve anything you truly set your mind to. It kind of goes back to the quote, when the why is big enough, the how takes care of itself. And when your commitment to the outcome and the end goal is so clear, so focused, and so honest, it's interesting how the universe tweaks and changes its thing in order to open up the opportunities, in order to
Hmm.
show you the people, show you the resources, show you the tools, help you find that YouTube video that randomly shows up in your feed when you know it's like, my God, this was as if I needed it, and it shows up.
Hmm.
With this project, I will say that this is the very first time that I've dealt with a situation where I was dealing with a vendor, I was dealing with a fulfillment house, and then I was dealing with all the numbers and managing all the numbers. In my business partner in my relationship, in most cases, I'm the one that mostly does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. And he's
Hmm.
more of the front man of the band engagement brand side of it to build the engagement, build the traffic, and whatnot. Even though I know I can do that, I can add more value on the back end to make sure all the systems are in place where once the order's uploaded, I know it's going to get delivered and whatnot. So, what have I taken away from this project? I think number one, um, anticipate the unexpected. First off, obviously, with our initial email list as well as our text message list completely being taken away from us on the very first day that we launched this, that was a huge blow to us. The
Hmm.
second blow was obviously the deleting of the Facebook group that we were using to leverage in order to drive traffic. The deleting of the Facebook page, the American Dreamer Facebook page. Thank you, Lady J1776. Appreciate you. The
And Deborah, and oh, hold on, and I got to say thank you to everybody, and
No
Deborah
problem.
also for ordering. And then we have a couple people who've committed to going ahead. And Tommy said he's going to order at least a 10-pack tomorrow. So just want to let you
Awesome.
know.
Thank you so
Yep.
much, guys. So, the constantly expect the unexpected. We hear that all the time, but until you go through it, it's debilitating because here you're sitting
Yep.
like, oh, I got my text message list of 22,000 freedom loving patriots inside of our email list, but yet our vendor won't let us go and
Yeah.
do it the way we want to go and do it. And here I spent some time doing the research, figuring out, thinking it wasn't a problem, and you hit that button and bam, you're screwed. And then, oh, can't email them either. Oh, can't reach our Facebook posts. Oh, can't all of this stuff that just completely fell that we weren't expecting.
Right.
Another thing is, it's like, do it afraid. If you don't know, if you're uncertain, if you're not clear, you have to pursue it with a curious mind and knowing in the back of your mind that you have the resources, the people, and the tools, and it's up to you to access and or find either directly yourself or through your direct connections and networks that you have in your inner circle to lead you to the people, lead you to the tools, or lead you to the information to help you get over that hump. And so, no joke, literally, since it almost feels like a Donald Trump experience where it's almost like the moment he got into the White House back in 2016, it was one thing, one thing, one thing, one thing, one. It was the constant berating of attack, try to undermine, attack, undermine, attack. I mean, it's similar in a different way, right? Two different contexts, but the same principles. You keep going and you keep pursuing no matter what your outcome is. And you just trust. The trusting is half the battle. Because when you can't see that whole staircase, it's very scary to sit there and go, damn it, I can take this step, this step, this step. What innately feels right? And then
Right.
trusting your gut and moving forward. And I think that, again, credit to Jason being able to see our vision, deliver what we needed at that time to be able to make this look and feel as professional as possible
Hmm.
and something that we would be proud of promoting in the right context. It was just, it happened so quickly and we just ran with it the way that we could. So when I look at what we've learned, I would say that those big points, trusting, doing it afraid, being willing to be okay with not knowing in the moment, but having the ingenuity and the focus and the drive in order to get to that next thing and find the next thing and do what needs to happen in order to push it forward. Doing something that you've never done before and being okay with it and doing the research to make it happen. all of those entrepreneurial concepts can be applied to anybody building any kind of business, whether it's a media business, whether it's a newsletter business, whether it's a physical products business in the retail side, or salt. I mean, again, there's multiple niches, but you get my point.
Sure. No, I do. No, it's listen, I love talking this type of stuff because it gives me an idea. What the only feedback I would give pretty much anyone out there who wants to create a business is just because you love your idea doesn't mean everyone else is. That's the truth. And when I first started this show, I had no idea what I was doing. And I'd had conversations with people by the hundreds and by the tens of thousands. We spoke in the LA Coliseum and it was full of employees, and I got to do a mini TED talk, and it was like second nature. It was easy. Everyone's like, "Oh, aren't you nervous?" No, not at all. But when I did this, I was so pissed and it was so upset, which is how the etymology of the show was created. The Don't Unfriend Me show was because our lifelong family members, godparents, people who were synonymous with our family. Like if we died, our kids and all the money was going to this family. It was my mentor, was my best friend. His wife just decided, because we voted for Donald Trump, to excommunicate us from their lives. And I went on and did a 30-minute show, and I had 300 friends on Facebook, and 30,000 people saw that. And it went and it blew up. So I do what I always do. I started doing a marketing group, and I brought all my friends in and said, "Okay, blow it apart." And they're like, "Nothing, just do that." And I'm like, "Okay." So I had a shitty black and white, horrible camera. So I put it in black and white because it was chromatic and horrible. My audio was some $12 microphone, and $150,000 invested later in a show that does fairly well, especially from a recorded standpoint. We see 11 million people a month. And we have a fairly large network, and we actually have people reaching out to us and going, "Oh, it's the Don't Unfriend Me show. Man, I've been watching you forever. Nino America came on last night," and he's like, "Oh my God, I love your stuff." And I'm like, "How do you love my stuff, dude? You were before me." So just because you love it, just because you're passionate about it, it doesn't mean that's going to transfer. So if you can't create that energy and passion and tell that story about the product that you're going to sell, you should stay out of it. I mean, really, you need to find someone who can. And there's a lot of companies that come up with great ideas who need a front man. Not everyone is a Ronco. I mean, Ronco sold all his own product. He was great at it. And then you look at Mike Lindell and you're kind of like, I don't know if I love him as a salesman, but somehow it works. You've got to find your niche. Now, the one thing I want to say about this bracelet, and go back to it real quick, is I stand with 45. I was just thinking, you look at the liberals and the people running, and you look at ride in with Biden. Now it's ride in with Kamala. They're give me a break. And then you got Hillary, I'm with her. I like it that it says I stand with 45, because it doesn't say I take a knee for 45. It doesn't say I cancel for 45. It doesn't say I sit down when the Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem. It's I stand, which means it's not that I'm subservient. It's not that I'm swearing fealty. I stand next to and support. I've got his back. To me, I think that's fantastic. Where did you come up with I stand with 45? And I know it might be a really simple question, but still, you had a lot to choose from. You could go with the MAGA route. You could go with America First. What was it with I stand with 45 that really struck with you guys?
Two things. First, before I answer that, I just want to comment on what you just said. The market is like the most brutal thing in the world, because like you said, if there's no market for what you have and you have that market product match that doesn't work, it's brutal, and you have to learn those lessons sometimes. So I just wanted to comment on that because I could relate. In my past, I've made the mistake there. And so absolutely, you ran with what was there, and I think it's amazing what you've turned this into.
Thanks.
To lead to your next question here, how did we come up with the message? I think my very first thing was, business partner Rob comes up and goes, "Okay, well, let's do a bracelet. Okay, fine. What are we going to have on the bracelet?" Well, my first thought was we don't want to have anything that interferes directly with the word Trump or the word MAGA, right? And so when you consider that and you consider that reality, it's like, okay, I don't want to deal with a licensing issue or a licensing problem. I want something that's neutral enough, but the moment that people in our community see it, they instantly get it, they instantly understand it, and they instantly know, do I want this or do I not want this? that was like the questions that I was asking myself that led into the message itself. You're in marketing, I'm in marketing. We're always thinking of what is the easiest, quickest, fastest way to deliver the message to get somebody to say yes or no. That's it. That's our main focus, knowing what their needs, wants, desires, and outcomes that they're searching for with what it is that they want to achieve. So it came into, well, what normally happens when something shows up in the world, whether it was terrorist attacks in France, whether it was political stuff that goes on in the United States. It's I stand blank, right? I stand blank, right? And so, well, we don't want to use the word I stand with Trump, even though most people typically in their Facebook page, they'll make their Facebook profile, I stand with Trump, I stand with well, we don't want to say it, but you know what I mean. Just stand with BLM, I stand with Paris, I stand with France, I stand with whatever, whatever, whatever. Well, what makes sense? Well, I stand with 45. Everybody knows that is in our community that 45 means Donald Trump.
Right.
Instant. We don't have to explain it. They get it instantly. And so they're going to see this. They're going to see the bracelet. They're going to see it on, the screen
No,
went black. Okay, there we go.
I'm building
Good.
graphics while you're talking. I'm a
No
multitasker, brother.
problem.
So
No
go
problem.
ahead. Go
So
ahead.
at the end of the day, it was I stand with, and then we said, well, we're going to use 45. We're not going to use Trump. Period.
Right.
Done.
Right.
Now, when it came to the domain name, I stand with 45now.com. Standwith45.com was already taken.
I
So I
see.
said, okay, what is an action taking domain that people would instantly remember to be able to translate it to their friends and easily remember it if they had to type it in the moment? I stand with 45 now. Now, meaning like not only right now, but also in the future. And right now, go to the website to actually get what it is this is. So
I see.
I was thinking from not only our selfish, how do we want to position this place, but I was also saying, how can we make this as easy as possible for somebody to see it, understand it instantly, pull the yes or no button in their mind, and then also translating it to somebody gets it, somebody buys it, somebody captures it. They get their product, they're like, dang, this is pretty cool. I know my friend John, my friend Sally wants it. They can easily translate that into the next person. So that was the thinking behind the name, the thinking behind the domain, as well as the thinking behind the bracelet.
Okay, so we've talked about the actual bracelet, the vision, how you launched the business, how you've faced nothing but I just can't believe the insurmountable odds that you've had to face going through just so many people trying to stop you from doing something that is innocuous. It's just benign. There's nothing malignant about this. There's nothing that's going to. It's raising money for a presidential candidate, but it just shows you where we're at as a society. So let me ask you this: how do you feel America is going to respond? And I know every election since I've been a boy, I've been following this. Since 6 years old, I've loved politics, and I've immersed myself in politics my whole life. And you haven't had a chance to hear my opinions or diatribes or anything else, and maybe someday you will. This is about you tonight.
Yes.
But
Appreciate that.
we know that every 4 years, this is the election that will change history. This is the election that will define our country for years to come. And it doesn't matter if it was Goldwater, and they said the same thing with Burr. They say the same thing with Jefferson. Washington was a dilemma. Is he going to give up powers? Is he going to go ahead and have a peaceful transfer of power? Are we going to have an elected king? It happened with Nixon, got to get out of tricky dick. And then you had Carter, who didn't have a spine or a backbone, and then Ford, who didn't have a clue. And then you have Reagan, who is loved. And this is where the separation came. You had Reagan, who was adored by Republicans and despised by Democrats. And it's been that way ever since. Where do you see us truly in a Kamala future and a Trump future? Where do you see us going?
I think it's a two-part answer, Matt.
Yeah.
Part answer number one, if you want my honest gut, I think no matter who wins, chaos. No matter who wins.
Yeah, that's true.
That's scary. Let's call it what it is. That is scary. Given everything that happened in 2020 and the deep-seated anger and frustration for people like you, people like me, people that are watching this show right now across the internet. That's scary because you have the difference, I think, between this election and the last election is the amount of people that are sitting there in the back of their mind going, okay, wait, I see Donald Trump do the spaces with Elon Musk with 1 million people concurrently for almost 3 hours yesterday. I see Trump's rallies sitting at 20, 30, 40, sometimes 100,000 people between the crowd there, the outside crowd, and then, RSBN streaming on the back and Rumble streaming on the back. And you're sitting there with 500,000 people watching something that it's in the middle of the day, it's during normal work hours, and he can still get 500,000 people focusing on what he's saying. And then the idea that that doesn't translate into winning in November,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like that
Yeah, I do.
deep-seated anger, and is there integrity in this system? Like, what is it that either we're not seeing? How are we being played? What's actually happening? Where can we as Americans contribute in a way so that we can bring integrity back into the voting system? That is piece number one to my answer. Today, I
Mhm.
was listening to talk radio taking my son to school here in Nevada, talking about the ballot laws in Nevada, that they are
Yeah,
allowed to count ballots up to 3 days after election day, even if they don't have a postmark. Does that sound like has integrity there? Where if
not
somebody
much.
really wanted to do something to make their preferred candidate win, it's not a political thing at that point. It's, is the integrity of the system going to serve the American people, whatever the result is? Or is it going to do exactly what happened last time based on everything that translated? And on top of that, when you look back at 2020, most of the election laws that created the reality of how votes were counted were changed unconstitutionally.
Oh, dude, listen, bro. Okay, now you can't do this because my viewers warn him. I'm the only person in 4 years who could give you how the election. It wasn't stolen. It was an unconstitutional election that did not follow any of the articles, and it was essentially judges empowered through executive emergency powers to change state constitutional law, which is only mandated to the legislators. Executive branch is responsible for enforcing, we know. Judicial branch is interpreting, and then obviously the legislators make the laws. So you and me both, brother. I haven't heard anyone else say this. It's I've been in a literally just like an island by
I
myself.
love this country, Matt. I love
Well, you
this
understand.
country, and I hate what's happening to it.
There's a paper trail, Scotty. There's a paper trail that shows. I mean, we have the decision by Nancy Pelosi for ask for additional funding of Donald Trump for the U.S. Postal Service, which was almost a year before the election, which happened in January, but almost a year, 10 months. And Donald Trump wanted to fight this. They wanted to extend Georgia, extend Pennsylvania, extend all swing states to count up to 3 weeks after the election. They specifically told us the night of that day of votes would be counted, but mail-in ballots and any overseas ballots would obviously be counted second because the amount of volume that they had. They told us what they were going to do for weeks in advance, and you saw these cases. They had gerrymandering cases. They had zoning laws. They had district shutdowns of Republicans and increased for Democrats. But the most important thing that they did is that they made it easier to vote by mail these ballots out that were unsolicited, which is you can't do that. It's against the FEC violation. It's against voting rights. You have to register to vote. You can't solicit ballots. So when you send out 50 million ballots and you send them to predominantly blue districts in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, what result do you think you're going to get? Last thing, real quick, 90% ratio to 10% ratio for Donald Trump never has happened in election history. City council, county clerk, state legislature, gubernatorial races, doesn't matter. There's never been a 90-10 split. For the love of God, even Michael Dukakis got more than that. So you saw these deep blue counties go 90-10 splits. It doesn't happen on towns that are more than 5,000 people. We're a melting pot of political ideology. And to see that should have been a warning sign. And here's the last thing. Across the country, across the nation, it was either about a 52-48 split if you take the Trump vote and you take the Biden vote. There's other votes there, obviously. There's third-party candidates. There's Mickey Mouse, John F. Kennedy. They get votes too. But if you look at Trump and you just look at Biden, it's about a 52-48 either way, right? So if Trump won a district, 52%. If he lost, it was lost at 48. You saw in some of these districts, only in the swing states, these 90-10 splits in these deep blue counties. It's not a coincidence. We also know one other thing, and then I'm going to shut up. But I got to brag a little bit. You got to know what I'm about. Good.
This is more than just wristbands, people. That's what I want to communicate to you guys. Like, we have this wristband. We're selling them. Go buy them. Buy as many as you want. Tell your friends to buy them. We want to send 7-figure checks to the Donald Trump campaign, okay? And this is the way that me and my business partner are deciding to do it. I love this country way too much to step back and not do something. This is how I am contributing. If you want to go to the polls and sit and watch and make sure things aren't shady, go do that. If you want to go knock on doors, go do that. I'm doing this with the wristbands. Continue.
We gain 25 different, we gain 20. My rants usually get a shit ton of people. So we're pumping the numbers up a little bit. I'm done in 30 seconds.
This is what this is about.
That is what it's about. The last thing about this whole thing that people need to understand is that if you take any election from 1950 all the way up to 2020, 2020 was actually an outlier. Go ahead and take it to 2016. You will see on average anywhere from about 91 million to 122 million at our highest people voted out of the overall electorate. How many votes did Joe Biden have? Do you remember?
There's no way that mofo got 81 million votes. Period.
Let's just pretend, okay? So 81 million, you're talking 70 for Trump. So we're talking over 156 million votes. I promise you this, which will prove me right. I'm writing a book on this, and I really do feel it's going to be a bestseller because people are going to hate it because they're going to have to change their mind. But when you see 2024's numbers and it's short by 30 million votes, it solidifies everything I've said, because these two candidates are still hated just as much as Biden, just as much as Trump. It should have the same reaction. It should be a very strong, passionate, driven election because people are poor, world stability, geopolitics, border. So there's a lot more crises that was going on outside of COVID. This should have a huge turnout. It won't. It's going to be 30 million votes shy. And when that happens, you know damn well it was the mail-in ballots that did it, which shows you that it's an unconstitutional election. So now that you know that, what happens if Donald Trump wins? Do you really believe there's going to be open conflict? Do you truly believe that there'll be riots in the street?
I don't know what it will look like. I don't know what it will look like. You know, in the back of my mind, I want him to win. You want him to win. We all want him to win. My concern is not the campaign and him getting the votes. My concern is the integrity on the back end after the votes are cast.
That's right.
That is ultimately what it comes down to. And again, going back to the 2020 election, bellwether counties, never, ever, ever, ever in any previous election did somebody lose that many bellwether counties. That's piece number one. Piece number two, go look and watch the Dinesh D'Souza's, that's funny. Dinesh D'Souza's.
Wait. What the fuck just happened?
When you go like this in the video with my phone, it will create something. And so I think if you do this, it creates, like the rock concert vibe.
How do you get all these cool toys? Are you have an iPhone or is it Android?
It just happened.
Dude, that's incredible.
You go to Dinesh D'Souza's video. I don't think I butchered that one. I'm sorry. 2000.
No,
Not one thing has debunked what he's actually shown in that movie. Period.
Oh, I'll debunk it. I'll debunk it.
Yeah, but
it's okay. We won't do that.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, at the end of the day,
I know what you're saying, but it's not as complex as that, man. And and I'm not here to argue with you. Dinesh D'Souza is a brilliant mind. But there's one thing that debunks his entire argument. But we'll
we'll talk offline about that.
I know. But this is what my show brings, right? It's like I don't disagree that something was wrong that happened. It's just our government, who I worked for, and many people work for, they aren't capable of pulling off a giant caper that isn't done in broad daylight. There's so much there with what they did do that people are ignoring. I'm not here to bag on Dinesh D'Souza. He's a brilliant mind. I just disagree with him on 2,000 Mules. But that's neither here nor there.
Fair enough. And I think, and real fast, the last thing here is that if you were on patriots.win, which is the spinoff from the Donald Reddit
Yep.
subreddit, which is its own site, and you go back to those days leading up to election and even after, the amount of funny business that was captured by people in that community on that website with ballots being thrown away, all
Yep.
this other crap, that funny business that made no sense, even up to the polling BS. That's all I got to say. We all know what
No,
happened.
no,
The
yo,
question
listen.
is,
Yes. Go ahead. Say it out. Go ahead.
we all know what happened. We
Right.
can't say it without getting ostracized or canceled or, disowned by big media organizations or our families or whatever. The bottom line is what's going to happen now in this election and what can we do on our side to make it happen? And, again, my part was a two-part answer, right? I think no matter who wins, because there is very little integrity in the system, at least for the general populace inside of our community, there's going to be challenges and problems and things that show up. As far as what those are, I can't put words to what I believe is going to happen. I just know it's going to be uncertain, if no matter what. Secondly, what does a Kamala America look like? Looks like no borders, higher inflation, Americans getting
Yep.
screwed, Americans being on the street, homelessness going up, just massive, never ending streams of problems that just compound and compound and compound.
Yeah.
We obviously know that if Donald Trump gets in, there's going to be a secure border. There's going to be the deportation. It's almost like the healing of our country and the beginning of people repairing their lives, because the environment is going to be in alignment with helping people repair their lives.
Right.
I'll tell you this straight up: the inflation. I can't even believe what our budget shifted from 4 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just for normal dailies, okay? We're talking gas, groceries, going out to eat,
Yep.
and, whatever else, ancillary things that show up. That shift of, God, it's like almost 100% increase, it feels like, across all of the things that we do. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Oh God, dude. I
Insane.
mean, the average person in their bank account, we're living paycheck to paycheck, but most nest eggs didn't encroach even $1,000, $2,000. Let's be honest. If you're spending $8,000 to $12,000 more annually than what you were previous year, then what's in your savings now? I mean, I was talking to Jason. God bless him. I love that guy. Like, I never want to disappoint him. That's why I was like, just give me a minute, dude. Let me breathe. Hold on. We got to get him on. Just let me process this, because I'm a processor. I've got to think things through. And I think we put on a kick-ass show in 35 minutes of no preparation. But God love the guy. He gives until it feels good. And I think that's what it's all about. It's not about give until it hurts. That's the worst analogy I've ever heard. Give till it feels good. This is a way to give back. The Don't Inform Me show has pushed our donations away tonight. And I know you guys are always amazing. You take care of me. But tonight, I want you to do me a favor. Go with Stans with 45now.com. They are selling an amazing bracelet, which is a testament to your true patriotism and not loyalty. It's dedication. You're going to stand with Donald Trump. There's nothing wrong with that. You're about MAGA. You're about America first. You're about the beliefs that he is trying to help America heal from 4 years of just utter shit that he already worked on with Obama for 8 years. We had it on the right path. And because the media successfully put a death ticker at the bottom of CNN and somehow tied COVID to Trump's fault, we have Joe effing Biden sitting in there. Here's a question that I want to talk about. It's really important. And I just want to touch on it real quick. Why should I buy a bracelet? To belong to a party, I might as well sew a yellow star on my coat to be close to 1945. You know what? First of all, 1938, 1936, 1945 was almost too late for what we should have done. But I will tell you this. The difference is because the Jews didn't have a choice. You do. And you live in the freest country in the world. And to stand up and not do something out of fear is exactly what the founding fathers had to face when they fought tyrannical governments who wanted to take away our freedoms, tax us into oblivion, try to tax us into prosperity, which was really only for the royals. It had nothing to do with us. It had nothing to do with our country. So when you say, why should I? You should do it for that very reason, because the day that you can't is the day that we are like 1940 Germany. And you're talking to somebody whose last name is Speer, so I understand the Nazi side, and also Schwartz, who my grandmother fled Nazi Germany. So I actually have a perspective of both. So that's why. There's your answer. Did you want to answer that too, Scott?
You answered it 10 million times better than I could. I think for me, what it comes down to is that if I was sitting in the audience right now seeing this actual thing, I would say, my first thought would be, first off, this is such a unique way to raise money for the campaign. Yes, I could actually send my $100 or my $1,000 or my $20,000 into the campaign and they can use it and do it. But this is a really cool way that I can donate money, but get something for it, right?
Right. Right.
That would be my mindset and channel of thinking. If you want to just take your money and donate it, go do that. Do what you feel is in alignment with yourself. If you want to, great. If not, no problem. Ultimately, at the end of the day, this is about doing what needs to happen or what we're doing to make Donald Trump have the biggest donation that we can give. Period. End of story. So that's the bottom line. It's, hey, I can buy something and a portion of the profit for the project goes to the campaign. Great. Awesome. I'm in. Or nope, I'd rather just send you my money. Fine. I'm not going to sit here and say do this or no, I'm not that type. If it's in alignment with you and you believe it makes sense for you, do it. If not, just donate the money. All good.
Well, here's the other thing is, Ramon, we know 1945 was the end of war. Jose is overseas. He is an amazing viewer, and his point is well taken. We get the point. 1945 gave us a full overall look at the war. In fact, we didn't even know that the Holocaust was going on during that time or before. It's actually found after we had already exfilled the camps. So that's the horror of this whole thing. But either way, here's what's exciting for me. You guys always ask me, what can we do to give back? Well, this is one thing, and it's not always money. You ask me all the time, hey, Matt, not all of us can do a podcast. Not all of us can. Well, I'm doing the thing that I know how to do, right? But the thing you can do is bring 10 people to the polls. And you know what? I want to see you guys wear these. I want to see photographs. You guys show your shirts, your coffee, the hats you wear from our show. Show me these. We'll put them up. This is not going to be a one-time thing. For the next 60 days, 75, 80 days, we are going to be talking about these bracelets, and we're going to do whatever we can because the ad buy is just one thing. You still have a push right before November, at the end of October, where he's going to have social media buys, and this is when it really ramps up. Donald Trump needs every penny we can get. The RNC has misappropriated their funds. They have failed immensely. Laura Trump's in there to do what she can, but the RNC is not doing what it needs to do. This is up to Donald Trump, and how is he going to get elected? He's going to by us, by helping, and what Scott's doing. Scott, one last thing. We always have 1 minute for all of our guests, and I would love to hear yours. I'll give you mine, and then we'll call it good. So I'm going to hand the floor to you.
What I feel like saying is this. I love America and I love this country. I'm a freedom-loving American here in Southern Nevada, and this is how I am doing what I can in order to make sure Donald Trump wins in November. I know that we all, as freedom-loving Americans, love our country, no matter what our background is, what our race is, what we do, how we choose to contribute to the world every single day. And I think that our community is one of the strongest parts to Donald Trump's success in November. I know I'm doing this wristband thing with my business partner because that's how we're choosing to contribute. But again, I want to reiterate, like I said earlier in the show, do what feels right to help Donald Trump win in November. Just like Matt said, if it means taking 10 people to the polls on election day, go do that. If it means telling one friend in your one friend that you have that may not know who they're going to vote for, call them up, have a conversation, say, hey, the election's coming up. I just want to let you know who I'm voting for and why I'm voting for it. I think one of the biggest policies right now, as I'm in this moment here, finishing up before I let Matt finish up, is the no tax on tips and the no tax on Social Security is probably one of the two most powerful policy things for people like that are average Joe Americans living paycheck to paycheck and or who are in a tipping based job, just like I am here in Las Vegas. Because at the end of the day, the more money that shows up in my paychecks and other dealers' paychecks and other servers' paychecks, the more that's going to fund the economy, the more that's going to generate more business, the more that's going to help us get out of this rut that we've gotten into based on the crappy, insane policies that have gotten us here. So with that said, my name's Scott Bradley. I'm a freedom-loving American here in Las Vegas. And again, thank you so much for your time and attention today. And I'm going to give it back to Matt.
Standwith45now.com. We have a lot of people asking, and I want to go ahead and let you know, and I haven't even asked Scott about this, but I know what he's going to say because he's a businessman, and he's going to say yes. We have plenty of people who own gun stores, private businesses, shops who want to put this in their shop. There will be bulk discounts. So if you have any interest in buying in bulk, hundreds, thousands, whatever it is, all you need to do is reach out to Scott at standswith45now.com. He's going to give you a good deal. He had even talked to me and said, hey, what about offering a discount code? And I said, no. You're already discounting these enough, man. $18.99 and free shipping. You guys, after that, he's not going to make anything off of these. This is for Donald Trump. This is for him. Yes, there's going to be a little bit here and there that he's going to see, but it's not going to be enough. The only way that that's going to happen is if this goes global, if people just get absolutely crazy and it blows up. And we're going to do what we can over at Wimkin to make that happen. This is just a small piece of it tonight. I wanted to do a better job, but I think we did a fairly good job. So if you want to order, standwith45now.com. If you are a business owner and you want to put these in your store, I know there's several people who do. I've already seen it. Reach out to myself. I'll get you in touch with Scott, and they'll get you a bulk discount. How you order, once again, standwith45now.com. Scott, it has been a pleasure, man. I really appreciate you on. I want you to come on and talk politics. I want you to see the show, how it works. And when we've got Amy and Leroy and Olivia, it's an exciting time. We do a good job, and we appreciate you being here for sure.
Thank you again, Matt, for having me. This was an absolute pleasure, and thank you so much.
What is your at? People want to follow you on social media.
Okay, yeah, it's the American Dreamer, and the at is Live Free or Die 76.
Live Free or Die 76. So at Live Free or Die 76.
X.com/Live Free or Die 76. Yes.
All right, Scott. Well, you did a great job, man. Wonderful. Great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. We'll continue to sell this, and have a great night, brother.
Appreciate you, Matt. Thank you so much. Good night.
All right, Bubba. All right. Well, Scott from the wonderful standwith45now.com. I thought that was important to have him on tonight. I really do. When I was asked, I was just like, I don't know. I'm not ready. I haven't prepared anything. I want to do some research because, I'm never going to talk to you guys about anything unless I've completely endorsed it myself. I was compelled to order the moment I saw it, and I hope you are as well. They're very cool. Take pictures. Let me know throughout the night. It's going to be up there. All orders will be put through here. Thomas bought a hat. Thank you. Once again, folks, I don't want any donations tonight. Do me a favor. Send it to standwith45now.com. They're trying to shut his business down. They've taken away his emails. They've taken away his ability to do business. And honestly, Scott's not here, so I'm just going to tell you personally, they were ready to throw in the towel tonight. And they're trying, and they're so close to the election. Like, they don't have time. They've got to get this firing off. And this is how we're going to do it. So when Jason called, of course, immediately I want to help. I just didn't know how I could help. Plus Hayden had a bad accident. So I was trying to take care of Hayden, and I'm like, I don't know how to help. I don't know how to help. And we figured it out. So I hope you guys appreciate it. It was a good show. We're not done. We're still going to go ahead and talk about a few things because I can't leave you with just that. That's not the only thing that we do here, obviously. We've got some important things to talk about. Standwith45now.com. I don't know if you had a chance to see this, but the left has been going absolutely batshit over this Elon Musk and Donald Trump call. I thought they wanted to save democracy, right? I thought that's what they were looking for. Let's save democracy. First of all, we're not a democracy. Let's go ahead and it's a personal matter. Everything's fine with Hayden. She needed mom. Mom wasn't here, so dad had to fill in, and dad was trying to handle a business call, get ready for a show, and do that. And dad snapped into anxiety mode. So that's all. Hayden is absolutely fine. So I thought they cared about freedom and democracy, right? I thought they cared. I'm sorry, y'all. When I say accident, that's what it was, but not that type of accident. It wasn't. I can't go into it. It's too personal, and it just she's okay. Everything's fine. But they're all about freedom and democracy. They're all about, we want to go ahead and preserve free speech. And if you don't vote for Kamala Harris, this whole thing is going to melt down and the world's going to end. Why are they selectively editing calls to make it sound like they want? They cut out Trump and Elon's conversation about nuclear energy last night to make it seem like they were saying that the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were no big deal. I want you to listen to this. And this absolutely just pisses me off, because this is a complete gross, not only dereliction of duty, they're fucking lying to you.
I want to play.
It's not about, just taking a clip and only playing 10 seconds of it. They're purposely a propaganda machine, for God's sakes. This isn't what the conversation about. We had a chance to listen to it. Listen to this. It's going to make you sick.
I want to play one exchange that was.
Hold on. This happens. Elon, get this fixed.
One exchange that was kind of classic. Well, there were a lot of exchanges that were classic Donald Trump, but this one really stuck out to us.
And Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So
right,
it's
right,
really
right.
not
That's
something
correct.
that
That's right.
So it's not as scary as people think, basically.
So that was more Elon Musk than Donald Trump, talking about, sort of suggesting that what happened almost 80 years ago, I think 80 years ago next year, the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, now it's okay. Kind of trying to blow off the impact of that.
That is absolutely bullshit. It's not what was said in any way, shape, or form. First of all, I've been to Nagasaki. I've been to Bikini Island. I've been to Hiroshima, depending upon where you're at. I've been to all of them. And if you think that I didn't feel a little trepidation and worry, because they filmed movies out there and all of them died of cancer. You look at the John Wayne movies out there, like that entire production died of cancer that filmed a movie out in that area. He's saying that nuclear energy is not scary, and it's not. Now, it was scary, obviously, during the tsunami in Japan above Hokkaido. It was obviously scary during Chernobyl. It was obviously scary during the whole China syndrome movie and all of that. But nuclear energy has become extremely stable in its overall production. And with artificial intelligence, with computer systems that can regulate and recognize any type of valve failure or heating and cooling systems or overall production and capacity, these things are all so much more advanced. And a blown fuse isn't going to melt anybody down. It's a different situation than it was 50 years ago. To say and trivialize Hiroshima and Nagasaki is absolutely ludicrous. Nobody is. We literally fried 710,000 some odd people that were either affected by secondary effects or immediate effects of a nuclear bomb. And what they're also trying to say is that they have moved forward. And the Japanese people have moved forward. The Japanese people, who have every right to be circumspect about nuclear energy, have embraced it fully. And a lot of Japan's energy issues have been solved because of these decisions. And it's a testament to look at that and do a comparative analysis based upon the size of Japan and its limitations on producing energy, and the expanse of the United States and its ability to have locations that are essentially not insulated from any type of travesty or devastation that could happen. And let's face it, it could. But we have a hell of a lot more open area and territory that nuclear energy is relatively safe. The plants that we have right now have been updated and modernized, and they continue to need to create new innovation and new solutions for any type of hiccups that could happen. But it is an acceptable form of energy. The days of throwing barrels of nuclear waste out the door, that's a little excessive and always was a little excessive, but there were companies that took advantage of that. We have regulations, we have the EPA, we have other things in place to make sure that it's done correctly. But either way, when you produce energy, and it's just the basics of physics, when you remove energy from one thing and put it into another, there is going to be waste left over. There is no such thing as clean energy. Solar is not clean. If you knew what it take to build those solar panels and how much minerals they have to dig up and the production, everything has waste. Everything does damage to the environment. EV cars are not the only answer. If you've taken a look at some of these cobalt plants and some of these mineral plants that they need in order to make this and mill this minerals from the ground, it leaves scars and it leaves horrible indentations into the earth. It impacts the overall geographical water flows and landslides that take place. These things change the environment. So yes, you can have something impact the air. You can have something that can be underground. You can have the overall terra firma damaged. There's always going to be waste when it comes to producing energy. We just have to ask ourselves the question, should we put all of our eggs in one basket and do massive amounts of devastation to one area that I just mentioned, or should we spread it around? Therefore, the earth has a chance to heal and reproduce and acclimate to the changes that we're making. The earth has handled volcanoes. One volcano puts out more freaking ash, more sediment to the earth than 100 nukes. We survived. We've survived asteroids. We have survived tectonic shifts. We've had continental shift. We've had ice ages. I mean, for the love of God, if Earth wanted to kill us, it could find a way very, very easily, just by turning it up about 20 degrees. Let's relax. It's a living, breathing thing. It's going to take a lot more than a bunch of human beings to kill it. But I think this whole thing about taking a clip from Elon Musk and Donald Trump and manipulating it to make it sound like something that isn't is frustrating beyond belief. That's all I wanted to say about that. If anybody has any comments on that, throw them in the chat. I'll try to get them with Q. Nikki Haley is she's pissed. I want you to listen to this and remember what I said. I wasn't going to vote for Nikki Haley. I just told you that she had an extreme popularity with the moderates and the middle of the road voters, particularly blue collar Democrats and moderate Republicans. And I'm right. And I'm still right because her primary numbers in Texas and all over the United States were fantastic. And I think everybody right now is saying Donald Trump probably should have chosen somebody else as VP. I think most gut is saying that. Who do you want? You want Tim Scott? He's worse than J.D. Vance. You want Kristi Noem? She was worse. Kristi Noem, she was worse. Nikki Haley could put two sentences together. She was proper. She had done the ambassadorship, which would have made her very useful for geopolitical. She's a kind of a war hawk with her language, so that would need to be railed in. But Donald Trump's not going to let her go to war. Vice presidents don't declare war, and neither do presidents. That's Congress. But she's obviously pissed off. There's no healing between her and Trump, and now she is speaking out. I want you to hear it. I want to see what you think. It's not that I don't love J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is a good guy. I'm not saying that. Is he what Donald Trump needs in order to expand his base? No, absolutely not. I don't think anyone is thinking, oh, well, J.D. Vance expands the base. No, he does not. It's what I tried to tell you when we were talking about Byron Donaldson, or we're talking about Kristi Noem, or we're talking about Carrie Lake. All of those people, Vivek Ramaswamy, all of those people were already MAGA. Even Sarah Huckabee Sanders was MAGA. You're not going to gain anything from that. But what you got with Nikki Haley was New Hampshire, and you got Virginia and Pennsylvania. And that's what surprises me. Her numbers in those areas were actually fairly good. They were strong and consistent. And it shocked me that he went with J.D. Vance, because J.D. Vance in Ohio is not going to give him Michigan. It's not going to give him Minnesota. It's not going to give him Wisconsin. You have to curtail to the middle. So we're going to see what Donald Trump's going to do. This honeymoon is almost over with Kamala. They're going to start realizing who she is, and things are going to go back to normal, especially when they put her record in front of her. And you're going to hear that. You're going to hear it in the debates. They're going to hammer her. But J.D. Vance, in my opinion, like I told you, I like the guy. I just don't think he was the clear-cut choice. I heard people say Tulsi Gabbard, and I've already put that to bed. I like Byron Donalds very, very much. I think he would have been a very good choice. He's articulate. He's extremely affable, likable, and he would have been a good choice. And Ben Carson, Tudor. That's the problem. Republicans tend to be a little dull sometimes, and Donald Trump makes them. He steals the oxygen from the room. He is a once-in-a-lifetime personality, and you have to have somebody who's strong and capable, who brings a different element to the party. I think Nikki Haley would have been a very complimentary person for him, better than Mike Pence, better than Joe Biden. I think it was a mistake. I think going after her and calling her bird brain, knowing she had no chance of winning at all. She never had a chance. You should have let her do well, congratulated her, put your arms around her, and made her a vice president offer, and none of this would have been a problem. Now you've created an enemy who has a lot of votes, and now this is what we're seeing. Listen to this. Tell me what you think. You don't have to agree with her. Just listen to what she has to say. You tell me.
Think that's not happening now? Do you think that this campaign is floundering on that point?
I want this campaign to win, but the campaign is not going to win talking about crowd sizes. It's not going to win talking about what race Kamala Harris is. It's not going to win talking about whether she's dumb. It's not. You can't win on those things. The American people are smart. Treat them like they're smart.
Do you think that's not happening now?
See, to me, it's true. You don't have to like it. But she's not wrong, folks. And just because she's someone that you were told to hate, you guys, you all loved her in 2018. You loved her when she was ambassador. She stood against the election. A lot of people did. The whole stolen election thing. So she didn't say that. You know what? A lot of people did. J.D. Vance called Trump a Nazi. Give me a fucking break, okay? Give me a break. He called him a Nazi. The only chance America has is Trump. I completely agree with you. My point is that you got to get him in there. You got to get him there. So do you think Nikki will turn on him, risk the dims? No, she didn't turn on him right there. She's saying, I want him to win. Just stop going after Kamala personally. You have a plethora of information. She's a fucking socialist. Go after late-term abortions with her and her frickin' new candidate. Go after stopping fracking. She'll lose Pennsylvania. That they want secondary energy and solar farms on the East Coast. They want the oil workers to go ahead and re-educate themselves about solar power and go back to school. Give me a break. Have you been to Texas? Give me a break. You're sitting on this Ukraine funding and talking about dedicating Kamala Harris $150 billion to Ukraine, and she's not even in office. You're talking about gun confiscation. She's openly said it. You're talking about the Green New Deal. You're Medicare for all. I mean, she's a fucking socialist in everything she does. And this is the problem, is all these Republicans, including all of you, have been screaming, socialist, socialist, socialist. Nobody believes us anymore. She's fucking socialist. And here's how far the Democratic Party has come from reality, folks, is in 2016, they stole the election from Bernie Sanders because he was too socialist. Now they're embracing socialism. You've got Tim Walz and Kamala Harris on a ticket together? You guys, now it's serious. Now it's serious. Nikki is absolutely right. And honestly, if Trump had anything in his soul about swallowing his pride a little bit, is go to Nikki Haley, tell her you're sorry for calling her bird brain, and find a way to get her on your administration. Get her on the Sunday talk shows. Get her to go on CNN. Get her to go on MSNBC. They won't attack her. She's a woman minority. They have to listen to her. They have to treat her with respect. That's the way this works. They're not going to go after her like that. They won't. They're going to hit her and argue with her and all that other shit, but she can defend herself. Let her go be your advocate. Don't divide further. It doesn't work. I know you agree with her. I agree with her too. I was just waiting to see what you guys would say. Look at all of you. I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud of you. Look at you. Everybody. It's just like, yep, she's right. You never would have done this a year ago. You never would have stopped and said, do you guys know how fucking proud I am of this group? Because there was a time where I would say anything about Donald Trump that wasn't star-spangled fucking awesome, and you guys would get so mad. And now you guys like, you know what? She's right. Good. We can say that. She's not right about everything. Her policies suck. You want to go to war with the cartel with special forces? You first. No way. No way. You want to keep dumping money in Ukraine? No, we don't want to do that. You need an exit strategy. Now, if you want to go ahead and give them another $50 billion, okay. I want an exit. I want an expiration date when we're pulling out, when we're getting out of there. If you don't get another penny. That's the rule. If Donald Trump and her came out and said that right now, do you know how popular that would be? We don't have a problem. We don't want Ukraine to fall. We want an exit strategy, and we want a date of exfil. So before we give another penny to Ukraine, we're going to have a date that we're done. Because right now we're being told that this is going to be a decade war, that this is going to be a war that our children's children are going to be involved in. No way. And I don't think Nikki Haley wants that either. She wants to know why we've spent $165 billion and where that money's going to go. Is it going to be another Afghanistan? $2.3 trillion war after 20 years and we leave it exactly like we found it? No way. No way. That doesn't make her a war hawk. That doesn't make her a neocon. It makes her smart. I'll be honest with you. There was two things that we had. You had Ron DeSantis and you had Nikki Haley. Two of probably the most viable candidates that we've seen in the Republican Party in a long time. Ron DeSantis for sure. Nikki, she is a little neocon-y. I mean, I'm not going to lie. She's not a rhino. She's a neocon. But that's okay. Reagan was a neocon. Come on. I don't know if you can walk away from both. I don't know if you can walk away from both. You had two very good choices in VP, and you destroyed DeSantis. You literally destroyed him. And you did the same thing to Nikki Haley. And still 21% of the population nationally voted for her. You have to understand that's a lot of people. And those are votes that he's going to need. She's out there. She's not turning tail on him. That's what they're saying, but she's not. Listen to it again.
Do you think that this campaign is floundering on that point?
I want this campaign to win. But the campaign is not going to win talking about crowd sizes. It's not going to win talking about what race Kamala Harris is. It's not going to win talking about whether she's dumb. It's not. You can't win on those things. The American people are smart. Treat them like they're smart.
Do you?
But we had that chance, folks. You had that chance. And I still think Trump would be the best thing for America. But the best thing may not win. That's just the truth. Am I eating Tums? Yeah. I get heartburn. Everybody does. I have acid reflux. I'm a big boy. I eat well, and I don't eat shit. But tonight we had chicken, and I think it's the do we have broccoli? I think it's the broccoli that gives me a little heartburn sometimes. Anyway, I just want us to I want us to get grounded, but we've had a good conversation. I want to thank everybody. Now listen, we didn't have one donation tonight. We had Thomas buy a hat, which I'm going to get shipped out to him. And the reason why we didn't ask for any donations tonight was because I stand with 45 bracelets. This company has taken their time. I stand with 45 now. You can see it's not I stand with 45now.com. We had Scott on, and he came on the show and talked about it. 45% profit match goes to Trump 2024. You know Trump, he's raising money by himself. The RNC is bankrupt. These bracelets are amazing. Give them out to friends, family. If you own a business, wonderful to have on the side. You can resell them. Do it. Resell them and then give half the proceeds, and you guys can make a chain doing it. Whatever you can do. I've got mine ordered. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we talk about this more. These guys have put a lot of effort into this, and Facebook cut their legs out from underneath them. And when I heard that story, I had to get them on. Wimkin has taken care of us, and I got to take care of them too. And the fact that they did this was amazing. It's just amazing. Give back to them. You can go to standwith45now.com. You can order 2 bracelets, 3 bracelets, 10 bracelets in a pack. Give them out to friends or family. But I appreciate you guys doing that. So far for the month, we're at 1,000. It's almost halfway through the month. We're way behind. of course that creates some stress. But tonight, this was a no-brainer. I hope you appreciate it. I hope you guys went ahead and ordered, and I know a lot of you did. We'll be on tomorrow, and we'll be on at 7 o'clock. We'll also have a recorded show and news in the morning. Want to thank all of you for supporting the Don't Unfriend Me show. God bless. Take care of each other. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.